Hello everyone. This is our talk, as promised, about natural birth. This is going to be an overview of a natural birth and more of a definition. What is natural birth? To me, if you would ask me, my births were both natural, but I guess that's a definition. So, first question, perhaps for you, Hilda.
Yeah.
Is a natural birth intervention-free birth, or is there a specific recipe?
Well, no, there's no specific recipe. What is natural? What do you mean? What is natural birth?
Yeah, I was hoping you'd be able to answer that.
It's a very important question because most people that we see today in our clinic, they come and they claim that they want natural birth. And as soon as you speak to them,
yeah,
more in depth, you realize that natural means various different things to various different people. The word natural has been commercialized. It's been put into usage for people like ours, like us, like our company, any private companies that have to do with obstetrics, and even training programs. They're claiming that natural is best, and many people, of course, they buy into it as such. And in some ways, if you are in an environment where you don't even have to ask yourself this question, everything's much easier. Then people have natural births naturally because they are young, strong, healthy. There's nothing wrong with them. They're low risk. They have good advocate support during their pregnancy, good access to healthcare, and they themselves have confidence, and around them are people who also have confidence, and women who have mostly given natural birth naturally.
So you're saying that if things are just allowed to happen naturally, then that's natural birth?
In some ways. How you define the word is something that I'm going to leave to other people, because I think it's very wrong to say natural is only this or natural is that. That would be me doing exactly the same as everyone else, where they are taking people or creating a situation where the woman has to choose natural or not long before there is perhaps the time to choose that. And it's putting her on the spot also for perhaps saying that if it's not natural, then it's unnatural. And then is it not as good when it's unnatural? Or what? So what I mean is that in an environment where the birth generally happens normally, it starts naturally, it starts without any help. It's a full-term pregnancy. It stays normal. There are no drugs used to augment or encourage the labor. There are no drugs used for pain relief. There's no vacuum forceps, cesarean, episiotomy. Then we could probably say, okay, this is a fully natural birth.
Yeah, not a single needle in the body of the...
Yeah, there's no...
Unless it's acupuncture.
Well,
yeah, that's another definition.
That's the fullest meaning, I think, of it. That many people, they think they're asking for when they ask for natural birth.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that a large portion of women who are pregnant nowadays, to them the definition of natural birth is vaginal birth. Perhaps with drugs, perhaps without drugs. Whether it's induced or not is not necessarily something that is defined prior to it. They just want a natural birth. And often when you really explore it with them, it becomes obvious that they had not realized that some of the interventions that sometimes are needed, are helpful, are the right interventions. They will take away, I guess, the natural element of labor. They will create more interventions, and even though at the end perhaps they were the right thing to do, it's taken away the natural part of the labor. And then you ask yourself, how important is natural? What is the natural part that you're looking for?
Okay.
Normal?
Normal, organic. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying that this concept or this description, natural birth.
Yeah.
It can vary from woman to woman, what that is, and what is sort of expected of happening within that event.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, like to me, if you'd asked me, yeah, I would definitely say, if someone asked me, did you have a natural birth?
Yeah.
I would probably say yes, but there were interventions involved, but nature took its course, and so it was just natural events that led up to me giving birth, although there was a needle in my body for various reasons.
Well, you have to ask yourself then afterwards, were you originally asking for a natural birth, or were you asking for a good birth, where you were supported and it wasn't a traumatizing experience, it was rather a heightening experience, something that made you perhaps feel stronger? Obviously, it's not the most important. You want safety, you want a healthy birth, healthy experience, right?
Yeah, so you're saying that you have to go back, you have to go sort of back from the actual event and say, okay, what led up to this? And so if pregnant women are watching,
Yeah.
what you're saying is that try to plan for
Yeah.
the event.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hope for spontaneous labor, you can hope for no interventions and a vaginal birth. Not not a doctor will touch you or nothing like that. But you're saying that if this or that happens, that you're sort of ready to deal with that, and that the result is more like a good experience, or
Yeah, that you have to open up, you to widen up what you accept, I guess, in terms of how the circumstances are when labor starts, who is there with you, what is the ward like, what's the environment like, and then there is the element of luck. So a good portion of labor, it relies a little bit on luck. You could be unlucky or lucky when you go into hospital, what meets you there. And it's not any personal ill against you from the staff of the hospital. But you yourself may have been unlucky. You didn't sleep much last night, or you felt a bit, you had a blocked nose, or something that affects you on that day of the labor. The same thing, the person who's with you, taking care of you in the hospital, he or she may be quite busy. He or she may have had a long shift and lots to do. Or they may be totally inspired by something that happened in their life, so they bring a lot of positive energy in there. So that's something in labor you cannot necessarily affect, so you have to just hope for the best. But if you find you've prepared well, everything's in the set of the best you could possibly have it, and you hope for a natural birth, whatever definition of natural you have, then something happens on that day that makes it slightly less than ideal. Let's say the environment isn't as friendly as you hoped for, or it's too loud, or you are more tired than you thought, or something. So what I mean in widening what you accept for it to happen is that you say to yourself, even if this happens, it doesn't really matter, because I've got a little plan, or I've got little mini plans. So when labor happens, I take it on, I know it's a journey, it takes a certain amount of time, I hope for no interventions, I won't jump to them, and I look for the best support that I can have, but then I try and put myself into a world where I don't let the outside effects be so large in the big scheme.
So you mean you have like a plan of how to deal with things,
Yes.
rather than a statement saying I'm going to have a natural birth.
Yes.
Okay.
For example, I am going to squat when I give birth.
Yeah.
That you see sometimes in birth plans.
That's a squatted birth.
Yeah. Give birth squatting.
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, for someone who has given birth a few times and realized that certain positions work better for her, then it's quite normal then that she would say, this is my position of choice. I've read about it and I've tried it also.
Yeah.
And but often afterwards, once you've had a given birth, you realize perhaps in the big scheme of things, it wasn't the most important what position you chose. It was most important that you could make that choice on that day as you were going through labor, and perhaps that it was suggested to you, you were reminded that that was an option, you tried it, and eventually you found a position that was good for you.
And it may not have been squatting.
Perhaps not. Perhaps it was flat on the back. Not what would be perhaps within the definition of natural to many. Another person might have had an episiotomy and be unclassified as natural birther.
Because of that.
Yeah, well, maybe she'll say, well, I had a perfect birth. And then if someone else said to her, well, but you had the episiotomy, then you have to ask yourself, okay, what's the meaning of this conversation?
Yeah.
Aren't we rather asking for a good birth? Or what?
That's a good question. So you're saying don't just grab a statement like this or a phrase like that. Rather plan what you're gonna do in the situation that you can sort of foresee, and build up support around that in hope for that experience that you've sort of chosen.
Yes. In some ways, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think next time what we should do, I'm going to talk about the birth as a journey. Let's talk about the birth as a marathon journey or a long the Macchio straight hike.
Okay.
And we say, okay, fine. We know it has a beginning, it has an end. People start at the beginning line with very different backgrounds, expectations, training, support. But I think most people who start this journey, if they want to reach the end with good outcome, unharmed, happy, perhaps exhausted to their limits, right? But if they want to reach that end, it's for sure, just what you said, they have to plan, they have to prepare, educate themselves in a certain way, or else, if they don't do that, they may still finish, but then their luck element was really large. They were lucky on that day, but perhaps you don't have to rely on that in such a large quantity, right? So let's talk about that next time. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. But maybe we'll squeeze postnatal talk in between, because this is the second birth topic.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do 2 topics next week.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Bye.